This is a great part of your job search that you would want to get right. You wouldn't want to miss this because this is something that the employer would see or your potential employer would see and then decide if he or she is going to hire you or not. This is something that is going to project you in front of the employer, and this is something that is going to make you outstanding. Or if you don't get it right, then yours will be thrown into the trash. And today we'll be talking about how to write a great CV that will fetch you a great job. Of seeing this beautiful face for the very first time, if this is your first time tuning into this channel, my name is Ogi. Please kindly subscribe to this channel so that you will be among the first to know whenever we upload a new video. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always showing up. So today we're talking about how to write that CV, how to present that CV that will fetch you that's your dream job. Are you getting your CV wrong? Then this is the right time to know if you're getting it wrong or if you're getting it right. Let's get into it.
Never really know what's going on.
In today's video, I'll be giving you some templates that will help you, guide you on how to write that award-winning CV. So the first thing you need to consider is writing your name in bold letter. That's the first thing to do whenever you're preparing your CV. You write your name in bold letters, and when you write it in bold letter, make sure that the font you're making use of is a professional font. Do not make use of stylish fonts that will make your CV unprofessional. Make use of fonts that are outstanding. Make use of fonts that are still professional, even in outstanding form. And also make sure that while writing your name, it is in bold letters. This will also make it catchy. The first thing your employer or potential employer should see is your name, and it should be in bold letters. After you must have written your name in bold letters, the next thing you're going to do is write your address, your phone number, and your email address. As for your address, what I do is this. I don't write my address in full. I write my town, I write my state or province, depending on where you're watching this video from. And then I write my country if it's a CV I'm sending out of my country. So let's say you're writing a CV to secure a job as a healthcare assistant, a nurse in the United Kingdom or in the United States. Please just write your town, your province or your state, and then include your country. You have to include your country because you are not sending this CV to someone in your home country. You're sending this CV out of your country. So you need to mention your country so that this potential employer will know exactly where you're applying from. So you just write your address and then just writing while you're writing your address, you write your town, your state, and then your country. Then you include your postcode. Include your postcode in your address. Your postcode is part of your address. It narrows down everything to where you are staying. So the next thing again you're going to do is your phone number, because the CV you're writing, you're not sending it to someone in your home country. Please remember to add the code of your country in your phone number. Because let's say, for instance, you're sending out your CV to United Kingdom. If you don't add your code and an employer wants to reach out to you, I know a friend that got her job through WhatsApp. And because she included her code, it was easy for the employer to just type in her phone number on her WhatsApp and then send her a message and say, will you be available on so day? I would like to give you a call so that we'll discuss about your CV. You don't want to start stressing your potential employer for him or her to start looking out for your code. In the event of looking out for your code to add to it before they can reach out to you, they might just throw your CV into the bin. So try as much as possible to include your code whenever you're writing your phone number on your CV, especially when it's not within the same country that you're sending out this CV. So the next thing you need to do is your professional summary, like I call it. That's what I normally like to make use of, or your profile. It depends. Please, here you have to include something beautiful, include something smart, something that sounds intelligent. This is a great part of your CV that will explain who you are. Every other thing is just basics. But here, in this professional summary, you're going to write out the key things you have done, the key points that one needs to know about you. So try as much as possible to write something good, something great about your professional summary or your profile. Is just concising your CV and putting it in one space. That's what professional summary or profile is. Write an outstanding one. I'll read out an example of something that I wrote on my CV, and then you see how it sounds and how great it might seem to you. Make sure you make your research, write your professional summary based on what you have done. Do not do copy and paste. Write on what you have done. It needs to include what is on your CV. If it does not reflect on your CV, then it shouldn't be there. Make sure you write your professional summary very well. Let's look at one of the professional summary, or some even call it career objective. Let's see. Let's just read one to cite an example of how your professional summary or your career objective or your profile, depending on what you have chosen to call it. Let's see how it sounds. A highly motivated healthcare assistant with over 10 years of experience in the healthcare sector. Please, let me remind you, this number, the 10 years, you have to write it as a number. Do not write it in words. Make sure you write it in numbers. And if you have more than 10 years of experience, maybe it has not gotten to 11. Remember to put plus. That's 10 plus years of experience in healthcare sector. If you have not worked in healthcare and you're applying to move in healthcare sector, and you go ahead and write your professional summary and say you have 10 years of experience or 3 years of experience in healthcare sector, it doesn't make sense. You have to mention the sector you have experience in. Even if you're applying for a healthcare sector, you need to mention the area you have experience in. Maybe you have experience as a marketer for 10 years, and then you have experience of 2 years in healthcare sector. Where you are applying in healthcare sector, the only years of experience you need to mention when you are talking about healthcare is the 2 years experience you have in healthcare sector. Do not forget this. Do not go and include all the years of experience you have elsewhere that is not the same sector, as long as at the end of it you're mentioning that the experience is in that sector. Make sure that the years you're writing as your years of experience is strictly the years you have acquired knowledge, you have acquired experience in that sector. Then, dependable and well equipped with good interpersonal skills, always putting welfare of patients and their interests at heart, highly knowledgeable in patient-centered care approach, and clearly understands what service users' well-being entails. This is part of the professional summary. So you need to write something that shows that you are passionate about this job, that you understand what it entails, that this is something you have an idea of. This is something that you know how it works. So make sure you write a sound thing, a sound English, a sound professional summary that will attract the attention of your potential employer. If you do not write something catchy there, there's a possibility that the employer wouldn't even bother going down to look at the rest of your CV. So this is the place that catches their attention. Make sure you write it well. The next is what we call area of expertise or skills. In this place, you need to write out your skills or your area of expertise. Please, when writing this, write it very well. Make sure it's catchy. Let's say for instance, you've been doing this job and you know what it entails. A healthcare assistant, for instance, needs to be flexible, you need to be adaptable, you need to be an active listener. So your skills or your area of expertise, you have to put in something like flexibility and adaptability. You need to put in active listening because you need to be flexible for you to be able to do this job. You need to be flexible to be able to work alternate weekends. You need to also be flexible to work other weekdays. So an employer would like someone that is flexible. If you're not flexible, they wouldn't want you for the job. They wouldn't want someone that will give them excuses here and there. So make sure you put in something like this. Let's say you are a great communicator, something like that. Make sure you put in something like documentation because being a healthcare assistant requires documentation. You need to know how to document things. If you don't document well, then you're not good for the job. You need to document what your service user did before you hand over so that the documentation, if you do them well, the next person that will be taking over from you during the next shift won't find it difficult knowing what you did. After the area of expertise or skills, depending on what you decide to call it, the next thing you need to do is you need to write out the courses you have done that is related to this role you are applying for. Let's say, for instance, you've done your 15 standards of care, you have to list them. Please remember, do not just go and write 15 standards of care certification that you did them, you got them from academy. Please list them one after the other. If you have done 15 standards of care, I expect to see 15 standards of care, the names of those courses that made up the 15 standards of care if I'm the employer. So write them one after the other. After write whichever one you write number one, you write wherever you got the certificate from with the year you did the course. So please list them one after the other. Then, if there are other courses you did to help boost your chances, include them. Make sure you include it in the courses attended. Remember that courses you have done is just different from your education. It is not your master's, neither is it your degree or whatever school you have gone to. This is not part of it. There's another place you're meant to write your education, not on these courses. So list the courses, write all of them out so that they will know that you really need this job and you have been doing something to be able to achieve that. The next thing you need to be talking about is your work experience. In this place, please try as much as possible. Let's say, for instance, you have two places you have worked. You've worked in hospital A and you have worked in hospital B. And currently you're working in hospital C. Please, while writing your work experience and listing the things you did out, make sure that hospital A and hospital B, whatever you're describing there, is in past tense. Because you have done this job before, you're no longer there. Make sure it's in past tense. And then when it comes to hospital C that you still work with, make sure that whatever you are writing in hospital C is in present continuous tense. That means you are still working there. It should be in present continuous tense. It shows the employer that this is something you've been doing and this is something you are still doing. Hence why it should be in present continuous tense. Do not forget this because a lot of people make that mistake of writing, let's say, their hospital A and hospital B experience that is in the past, writing it as if it's something that is still happening. And then maybe writing their present job in past tense and make it look like it's something they have done and they are no longer doing. Do not forget this and include this in your CV. Check your CV and be sure it's that way. Let's say I delivered. It should, when it comes to something you're doing now, it should be deliver. You shouldn't put it in past tense. So that's what I'm just trying to say. And then try and explain it in such a way that the employer or your potential employer would understand what you have done, able to narrow it down, whatever they are doing in their own workplace. If it's possible, I always suggest, if you can, try and check out whichever job you want to apply. Try and check out their job description. If it's something you have done, make sure it reflects on your CV. This is another great way to be able to secure a job. Make sure that the job description is something that is reflecting on your CV. If you're writing your work experience, make sure that you include the name of the hospital, the year you worked in the hospital, if you're still working there, and if you're not working there anymore, make sure that you include the year you left the place or wherever it is you worked. Include these, and don't just come and say hospital A 2020 to 2021, and then you won't say anything again. You now write hospital B. No, don't do that. Make sure you explain what you did in that hospital. Write the job description. That's what it's called, the job description. Write the job description of whichever job you've done. Include it in your CV, and don't make your CV so robust, but make it catchy. Make your CV look neat and clean, and make sure it is well aligned. If possible, put your CV in PDF format so that it does not scatter. Whatever you send it, whichever way you send it, that's the way it will get to your employer. The next thing that should reflect on your CV is education. If you have a degree, this is where you have to put in your degree. And if you do not have a degree, let's say you're applying as a healthcare assistant, it does not matter. So put in your degree here. This is where you put in your degree, not courses you have done. Here is education. You come below and put in your education, and you name the degree you have gotten, and then the school you attended, and which year you got that degree. This is where to do it. And then for the education, make sure that you include whatever you have done. Let's say I have a degree, I have even if you don't have a degree, it does not matter. Just make sure that you include, let's say you have a WAEC, GCE, WASI, whatever you call it in your home country. That's the basics. Write it, include it. If you have a degree, you don't have to include that you have your WAEC or your GCE, because whoever has his or her WAEC or has his or her degree is bound to have GCE or WAEC. So you don't have to include that one. Just write your degree or whatever you have. That's just it. After writing your CV, go through it over and over again. Read it. Use Grammarly, the free version. You can check to see in your English to know if you've made any error. Check it thoroughly. You don't want to send out your CV to your potential employer and it's in a mess. As much as possible, put your CV in PDF format. This helps you when you send out your CV, it doesn't scatter. See, PDF keeps your CV the way you kept it, and when it gets to your potential employer, it's still the same way. So try as much as possible to put your CV in PDF format. This saves you a lot of stress. I know that some people would say PDF formats. If you put your CV in PDF format, sometimes it doesn't give you the opportunity to beat the ATS. I don't know if you know what is ATS. That's what employers make use of to screen your CV to know if it meets the standard they are looking out for. So if it meets the standard, then the ATS will pick it up, and then the recruiter will go through the CV. But what can we do? If you leave your CV in Word format, it might come out messy. If ATS, if it beats the ATS, then what will happen if an employer or a recruiter picks it up and decides to read it? It doesn't make sense. So I would always advise, put your CV in a PDF format so that it looks as neat as it's meant to be. Against all odds, that's what I recommend you do. I hope this video is of great help to you. If it is, please click the subscribe button. Also click on the notification bell so that you will be the first to know whenever we upload a new video. Thank you so much for staying till this very moment. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.